It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I had the privilege to interview all of the hosts of the podcast, The Goats Chat. How are y'all doing today?
Doing well.
Good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. Can you talk about how y'all got started?
So we got started. We actually all go to Ithaca College, all together. We're sophomores at Ithaca, but we all got started. We have a class together. We had a class together in the spring called Intro to Media Industries, and kind of the final project was to make a podcast. Well, that's what we wanted to do for the project, was to make a podcast. So we started out. We did an episode, and we realized that it's fun, and it's something that we wanted to do since May. So it really started from class at Ithaca.
Matt, how did y'all start with the name? Like, how did you get the name The Goats Chat?
So we got the name Goat Chat. It took us a while because we wanted something that no one else had. So we were searching like Apple Podcasts, YouTube, a bunch of different names. Like I probably can tell you a couple of the names. I think one was Throw 'em in the Sin Bin or something, like a hockey reference.
And
but then
what was the other one? Like Move the Chains or something like that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we tried so many different names, like, to be original. And then we got on Goat Chat, kind of like, the GOAT, greatest of all time, for like a sports reference. So we really liked that. And then that kind of bridged us to some of the segments that we do on the podcast.
Michael, can you talk about some of the segments that y'all cover?
Basically, we cover pretty much anything between the four major sports, the MLB, NHL, NBA, and the NFL. So it really varies on like what's going on in the sports world between each episode. Like before sports came back, we kind of did like hypotheticals, like ranking the 2018 quarterback draft class for the NFL, or even predicting who's going to be the champion for the NBA once the bubble started. So it kind of varies on like what's going on in the sports world and what's more relevant during that time.
Michael, can you also talk about, I saw y'all's amazing intro where y'all, like, for each episode, you talk about, like, for example, episode 23, a bunch of y'all put Michael Jordan as y'all's favorite GOAT. Can you all talk about that more?
Yeah, so basically at the beginning of each episode, before like little intro was like the music and stuff, right? Big credit to Matt for making that. It's awesome. But basically at the beginning of each episode, we have the GOAT of the episode number. So for that case, it was episode number 23, and we picked who we thought the best athlete ever was to wear the number 23. So obviously for 23, it was pretty much a toss-up between Michael Jordan, LeBron James, or if you go to like number 8, right? You could pick Kobe for that, or another athlete, or number 4 with Brett Favre. So it kind of depends on the episode today. So, but we always do that at the beginning of our episodes. Kind of a good way just to hop into the episode.
Connor, can you talk about some of the topics and how like y'all come up with the topics?
So a lot of the time, when we first started off, we were kind of like, we would meet the day before we filmed, because when we first started, we were a one time a week podcast. We would meet the day before and be like, all right, this is what we're going to go over. This is all our kind of notes. This is all this stuff. And then as we kind of got more developed and sports started coming back more, we were just like, all right, so this game's big. We should talk about this. This is a big topic going on over here in the MLB. As for example, when the coronavirus was first hitting, like the Marlins at the beginning of them coming back, we were like, okay, that's a must-have topic that we have to talk on our show. It really, we kind of base our podcast off of major headlines that are going on in the sports world.
What are some of the topics that y'all covered so far?
I mean, there's been such a range of topics. When we first started and there were no sports, it was most likely players to break out. ranking some draft classes from previous years.
A lot of hypotheticals.
All hypotheticals, really, because I mean there was really nothing else to talk about because sports were on a standstill. And then as we come back, like we just filmed an episode before we came on with you, and we were talking about the NBA and which team that's down 3-1 in the series is in the most trouble. And we gave a preview of the week 3 matchups. So I mean, we really base a lot of our stuff now off of the competition and the games that are going on now.
Tommy, can you talk about some of the plans for the future of the GOAT Chat?
Yeah, well, we have a lot of things in store, I think, right, guys? We're thinking about doing more interviews. Definitely want to interact more with our followers. We've been doing Instagram live videos after big games. We enjoy that. We'd like to do more of that. And, you know, obviously on Instagram, you can only have 2 people at a time. So we might do something on Zoom where we can get all 4 of us in there. And, you know, we just want to expand, and it's all about learning. So we just want to be the best that we can be and grow the podcast as much as we can.
Tommy, as you talk more about Zoom and, of course, with the coronavirus, how difficult is it to, like, all meet up to film an episode?
We make it work. You know, we see what everybody's schedule is, and but Zoom's great though because you know it's we can see each other's reactions to stuff, and I think that makes it better rather than being just an audio format where we couldn't see what people were thinking. But it's been good, and you know it's been fun to do, especially like they were saying when we didn't have sports. It was good to talk about, and it helped pass the time for sure.
Matt, what are some of your favorite moments in doing the GOATS Chat podcast?
My favorite moments, I mean, it's hard to pick. Honestly, the number one, my favorite thing is just being around these guys and talking about, you know, the sport we love. We all major as sports media majors at Ithaca, so of course we love sports. You know, sometimes we fight or argue, you know, debate each other, and it gets heated sometimes. But I really enjoy being around these guys and just learning every step of the way. You know, and to further ourselves in the sports media world.
Michael, what are some future plans when it comes to the GOAT Chat?
Like we said before, I think a lot of the stuff we want to do is like interview more athletes. Like we interviewed Cole Murphy, who was a big time kicker for the Syracuse Orange, and now he's trying to make it to the NFL. And we also want to do more fan interaction stuff. We already have some stuff on Instagram that interact with our fans, like, you know, like little polls for our ending segment for every other episode called Go of the Week, where we pick an athlete who has been the most impressive throughout the week. And we all pick a different one, and then our fans can vote on it, and we have like a little scoreboard and stuff like that. So again, more fan interactions. We love working with our fans. That's probably one of the best parts of this show.
Connor, who are some of the people that you've interviewed on the GOAT Chat?
So we've only interviewed one person. It's been Cole Murphy, as Mike was just alluding to. It's Syracuse Orange kicker. We did have a segment that we were possibly going to go with. I think we're still going to try to go with it. It just includes more fan interaction that we called the Tribe Call. A group of coaches called the Tribe. And we had one of my buddies from high school come on because it was right around the episode where we were talking about number 10, and I picked Eli Manning for my go to the number 10. And some of the guys, Mike included right now, who's rolling his eyes, didn't necessarily agree with that. And my buddy from high school kind of just wanted to get on and talk to him about it and kind of give his take on it because he's another big sports guy. And just like that, like it's more fan interaction that we want to get. So, I mean, definitely look for that in the future.
Connor, as you talk about Eli Manning, do you see him being in the Hall of Fame?
I absolutely do. And now you can look down at Mike and he's going to shake his head because I just know Mike too well. But Eli Manning is undoubtedly a Hall of Famer.
Matt.
I'm sorry. I'm not going to get too into this argument because we could literally be going on for hours. I think Eli Manning is overrated. He had 2 historic runs, but that's about it. He was great at throwing interceptions, though. Hall of Fame of interceptions. Throw him in there.
Matt, when it comes to trying to reach your audience, what are some of the keys that y'all are trying to do?
For reaching our audience, we're very big on Instagram. That's probably our biggest platform that you can reach us. We flirted with TikTok a little. We actually kind of we didn't go like viral, but like it was kind of impressive. Our first video, or one of our first, got more views than expected for us. But we just try to reach our fans through, or reach an audience through Instagram. I mean, and kudos to all the other Instagram sports podcasters out there who like our stuff, comment, participate in fan engagement, shout us out on their Instagram story. It's a huge help, and we love reaching out to other podcasters, and try to help them, and try to help them grow while we grow at the same time.
I mean, kind of just to bounce off of Matt's point, there is, with all these young podcasters, I mean, none of us are getting paid, even the ones on Instagram. You see your guys' self as like, you guys are working together. I mean, you guys are different podcasts, but you're all working together. You're all trying to get each other their own engagement. You're not really competing for fans or viewership on Instagram or YouTube. So, I mean,
Yeah, and I think you got to mention that Matt, he does a great job with all the editing and social media. He runs a lot of that, and most of it. And he does a great job, and he's really helped us grow on all of our platforms. So,
Matt, speaking about platforms, where can my listeners find the Goat Chat on?
You can find us on YouTube, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. And, probably the best way to get to us on every platform is to go to our link tree on our Instagram. In our bio, we have different, all the stuff that we can be reached on wherever you want to find us, or wherever you want to listen. Either way, it's just, it's a huge thank you to everyone that watches us, everyone from day one, our parents, families, friends. I just can't thank them enough.
Thank you again for your interview, and best of luck in your podcast, The Goat Chat. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, guys, for your interview, and best of luck.
No problem.
Thank you.
thank you.
Good luck to you too.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.